Have you ever felt like your tech is, I don't know, thinking for itself? Well, you're not wrong. There's actually a powerful form of AI that's been working quietly in the background of your life, pretty much unnoticed. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on these hidden helpers. We're talking about AI agents.
All right, so first up, let's talk about agents that are hiding in plain sight. We're going to connect some dots here that you probably didn't even realize were on the same map. So think about this for a second. On the surface, these seem totally different, right? A thermostat keeps your house comfortable, Netflix just knows what movie you want to watch, and Siri answers your questions. But deep down, they all share the same fundamental DNA. Any ideas what that is?
Yep, that's it. They are all AI agents. Basically, they're just pieces of software designed to perceive the world around them and then act on their own to achieve a goal. This core concept, it's the engine behind almost all of the smart technology we use every single day.
Now, I know that sounds super technical, but the idea is actually really simple. An agent perceives the world using sensors. Think of a thermostat's little thermometer. Then it thinks to make a decision based on that info. And finally, it acts using what are called actuators, like the actual switch that physically turns on your furnace.
And really, that's an agent's entire job. It's just this constant, simple loop: perceive, decide, and then execute, over and over again. You see this everywhere. A spam filter perceives a sketchy email, decides it's junk, and then acts by throwing it in your spam folder. A self-driving car perceives a red light, decides to stop, and acts by hitting the brakes. It's the same exact pattern no matter how simple or complex the agent is. So, this simple cycle, perceive, think, act, is the foundation for everything we're about to talk about. But, and this is where it gets really cool, not all agents are created equal. Not by a long shot.
Right, so like I was saying, not all agents are built the same. A great way to think about it is like a ladder of intelligence. Each rung we climb represents a big jump in complexity and what these agents can actually do. So let's start at the very bottom. All right, here we are, level 1, the bottom of the ladder. The simple reflex agent. As the name suggests, this is the most basic form of intelligent agent out there, and it runs on a super straightforward principle. Okay, so this agent lives completely in the now. It has zero memory of the past. It just follows these dead simple if-then rules. You know, if the room temperature drops, then turn on the heat. If something moves in front of the sensor, then open the door. They're incredibly fast and efficient for these simple, predictable jobs, but that lack of memory is a huge weakness. They can get stuck in loops really easily. Okay, let's climb up one rung on our ladder. We're now at the model-based agent. And the big, game-changing upgrade here is memory. So this type of agent actually builds an internal model, kind of like a mental map of how the world works, all based on what it remembers. This is absolutely crucial for dealing with things it can't physically see at that exact moment. For example, a self-driving car doesn't just see the car in front of it. It remembers that car was slowing down a second ago. It gets the context. It's not just looking at a single snapshot in time. All right, let's take another step up. Now we're getting to agents that don't just react or remember. They actually plan. Welcome to the goal-based agent. This is where we see foresight. This agent isn't just reacting to what's right in front of it. It's asking, what if I do this? All in an effort to reach a specific goal. Your GPS is a perfect example. Its goal is to get you to your destination, right? So it considers a whole bunch of different paths and plans out a sequence of turns to get you there. This ability to look ahead into the future, that's a massive leap in intelligence. Okay, so we can reach a goal. That's great. But what if there are multiple ways to get there? And what if some of those ways are way better than others? Well, that brings us to our fourth level, the utility-based agent. This quote nails it. It's not just about getting the job done, it's about getting it done the best way. This agent has to weigh trade-offs. To do that, it uses something called a utility function to measure how desirable, or you could say how happy, an outcome is. Is the fastest route better, or is the most fuel-efficient one the winner? Yeah, this agent is constantly making these kinds of trade-offs. Think about your GPS again. Does it prioritize speed above all else, or fuel efficiency, or avoiding tolls? It's weighing these conflicting goals using their assigned utility to make a really nuanced decision. And that's critical for navigating complex, real-world problems where there's no single perfect answer.
And now we have reached the top of our ladder. This is the most sophisticated, the most dynamic type of agent there is, the learning agent. This is the one that actually gets smarter over time. It's not just following a fixed set of rules. No, it adapts based on its own experiences and the feedback it gets. It has these internal parts that literally analyze its own performance, learn from its mistakes, and even suggest new things to try out. This is exactly how Netflix figured out your taste in movies, or how your smart assistant gets better and better at understanding your voice. This is intelligence that truly evolves.
So, let's do a quick recap of our climb up the ladder. We started with simple reflexes, just if-then rules. Then we added memory to create an internal map of the world. After that, we gave it the power of planning to achieve specific goals. Then we made it even smarter by letting it weigh different outcomes to find the best one. And finally, we topped it all off with the ability to learn from experience. Each step up that ladder unlocked a whole new level of intelligence.
Okay, so far we've really only been talking about individual agents. But what happens when they start to team up? Well, this is where we see truly complex behaviors start to emerge, solving problems that no single agent could ever tackle on its own. So agents basically collaborate in two main ways. First, you've got hierarchical systems. These work just like a traditional company. You have a high-level manager agent that makes the big plans, and then it assigns smaller, more specific tasks to the lower-level worker agents. A car factory is a perfect example. A central planner says build 500 cars, which tells a floor manager to fire up an assembly line, which then tells individual robot arms to weld a specific door panel. It's super efficient, very predictable, but it can be a bit rigid. On the other hand, you have multi-agent systems. Now, this is less like a hierarchy and more like a collaborative team of equals. Each agent is autonomous, but they all communicate and coordinate to achieve a shared goal. Imagine smart traffic lights in a city. One light might ping another and say, hey, I've got heavy traffic headed your way, allowing that next light to adjust its timing. This creates this incredible ripple effect that optimizes traffic flow for the entire city, a complex, emergent behavior that wasn't programmed into any single light. So, we've seen how agents work today, from the simple thermostat on your wall to these complex learning systems. But the field is moving at an absolutely incredible pace, and it's leading us to what a lot of people are calling the next major wave in AI. And that is agentic AI. The two key words here are proactive and autonomous. We are moving way beyond agents that just sit there and wait for a command. Instead, you could give an agentic AI a really complex long-term goal like plan my entire 2-week vacation to Europe, including the flights, hotels, and all the activities. And it would just go. It would autonomously break that down into smaller steps, research all the options, use other tools to book the tickets, and execute the entire plan without you having to constantly check in. This isn't just simple automation anymore. This is the delegation of complex reasoning. And that really brings us to the big, final question. We started this journey with these simple little agents that control our thermostats. Now we've got agents that can learn our tastes and drive our cars. As they evolve towards true autonomy, that line between a tool we use and a collaborator we work with is going to get really blurry. So what's next? What are the complex, high-stakes decisions that you would be willing to hand over? That's the question that's going to define our future with AI.